this way.
Thank you for coming. My name is Pat McCone. I actually have to have notes to remember who I am. Pat McCone. I'm the Senior Director for Public Policy and Advocacy with the American Lung Association, which is also a member organization with the Minnesotans for a Smoke-Free Generation. Let's get started. We're going to talk about the #1 killer in Minnesota and in our country, and that's commercial tobacco. When we got cigarette use down among youth, we thought we were really on the road to a smoke-free generation. And no one imagined that big tobacco would come back stronger than ever with products that deliver nicotine in a fruity, flavored, delicious way. And we're working together with faith leaders at the Capitol today that are speaking out about the damage that menthol, the only flavor left behind with combustible commercial cigarettes, impacting the Black community. Not because what's wrong with them, but because what's happened because of the tobacco industry targeting. And today, young people are here. It's so wonderful to have their voices, their bodies and voices here to talk about the impact that it's having on them and their loved ones. Today, pediatricians are meeting to talk with young people and their parents about how they can address this addiction. We know there's research going on in our state about the long-term impacts of vaping. And teachers and nurses and superintendents and principals are pleading for the state to do its part in helping reduce this epidemic. Parents are desperate to know how they can help their kids and overcome anxiety and depression that is reported among our youth as they say, what got you started vaping and why are you continuing? So with that, it's just so wonderful to have so many diverse voices here. And we're gonna start that process with Miss Sylvia Amos. And she is one of the African American leaders in this initiative and going to lead the voices around this important bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
The Black Church remains the most trusted institution in our community. We are concerned about the whole person, heart, body, and soul. Our spiritual health and our physical health are connected. Loss of life from menthol tobacco use is prevalent in my community. It's no accident that 81% of Black smokers use menthol cigarettes, which are easier to smoke and harder to quit. The tobacco industry has strategically and aggressively targeted my community with menthol cigarettes for decades, and we suffer from tobacco-related diseases at very high rates. The tobacco industry has upped their game by targeting our youth as replacement smokers for those who die each day from tobacco use. We have a responsibility to be proactive in educating our community about the dangers of menthol flavored and other flavored tobacco products, electronic cigarettes, vaping, and smoking in general. For us, it's a matter of life and death. Black lives matter to us. It's time for all lives to matter and to stop putting profits over lives and put lives over profits. All of us, believers and non-believers, must aggressively oppose the profits over lives culture and fight faithfully for what is right. We all are called to stand against evil and contend with forces of injustice. I pray that this bill gets passed. Thank you.
What a great start. We're taking down tobacco, right?
Yes.
And one of the leaders in that is Representative Cha, who is the sponsor of this bill. And we want to thank him for his passion around this important issue. And Representative Cha.
Thank you everyone for being here today, especially to the children who are here and parents and families. My name is State Representative Ethan Cha. I am from Woodbury 47B. I'm your state representative. I want to start first off by thanking the Health and Financing Policy Chair, Tina Liebling, and Chair Stevenson for hearing HF 2177 this session, and all the advocates and the legislator who champion the flavored tobacco ban. As a father of a daughter who started vaping at a very young age, this legislation is close to my heart. I'm going to share a few quotes from her letter to me. It says, "I was scared, Dad. I was alone. I was depressed. I was resentful. I budgeted vaping before, food, and all my basic necessities. I felt naked without my vape. My life was on pause. I didn't realize I was addicted until I tried to quit vaping. It took me, her father, to become a state representative in the House of Minnesota and to carry this flavored tobacco ban to give her the courage to stop vaping. Next month will mark the 1 year of her first adult life that she will be vape-free. I ask for all Minnesotans and legislators from both sides of the aisle to join me to champion our youth and families. We must protect the future of our generations. Our children and their health is not negotiable. Again, our youth and their health and their future is not negotiable. As your state representative, I would not stop until our children and communities are all safe. We will continue to champion children and communities who have been targeted by big tobacco companies. And I urge the Minnesotans that you write to your legislators on both sides of the aisle, in the House and in the Senate, to support HF 2177. And my last message is to the children of Minnesota, to our youth. You are our future. You are not alone. As parents and lawmakers, we stand with you to protect your future and your health. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Cha, and I don't know about you, but that story gave me goosebumps with what your daughter was able to tell you and share with you. And congratulations on the 1 year. So next, we have a representative from the schools, and that is Ann Elke. She is superintendent of the schools in Ely. I think she probably come the furthest, and I had the pleasure of working with her last week, and I'm so excited that you're here. Superintendent Elke.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me here today. I am the superintendent of the Ely Public School District. I'm also the elementary principal of that same school district. I have a big passion for this bill. I think that targeting our youth is quite despicable, if I can say it plainly. And I think that the legislature can do something very great and stand up and just say no flavors, and that would make a big difference for our youth. I do think that we have a lot of work to do as educators as well, to educate not only our students, but also our staff and our families about how addictive vaping is for our students and how difficult that the students are having challenges with trying to stop vaping after they've even tried it just a few times. I am a mother also of a 17-year-old son and a 13-year-old daughter, so it's very near and dear to my heart. And I can see not only my children in our school district, but the children, we only have 530 students, so it's a very small district, and I feel like a mom to all of them. So it's very personal, and I care for them deeply, and I'm super proud of all of you students being here today because it takes courage to stand up for something like this. And I fully support Representative's bill, and I just will keep fighting until we make a difference. So thank you for having me here.
These are small districts anywhere in our state, that's what I've learned, and it was reinforced last week. So thank you, Superintendent Elke, for coming. All right, now let's the games begin with our youth voices, because that's what we're here to hear. I'm an English major, so it's H-E-R-E and H-E-A-R. So first, they gave me the stumpers. So Kyler is Krappelnicki. Krappelnicki, got it. Kyler, come on up. Kyler's from Hastings Middle School.
Hi, my name is Kyler and I'm in 8th grade at Hastings Middle School. I'm here to tell you how vaping has impacted me in my life. It all started when my sister began vaping. It was crazy seeing her change into a person I didn't know. Her mood was changing. She had a shorter tolerance to anger. I didn't know why she was being so mad all the time. I wasn't exactly sure why she even started because she had taken all the classes before. I was starting to realize that that wasn't my sister anymore. Not the sister I knew, not the athlete, the big sister advice giver that I knew. The vape she had, she called the community tank because it was such a big, powerful vape and she would let everybody else use it. She said that she was letting other people use it more than she used it herself, but after a while I noticed that that wasn't the case. So her friends would sleep over and I would just like smell the fruity broom of, Febreze because she was trying to cover up the smell of the vapes and it was all that. I had a long thought process after that first sleepover and I decided to tell my parents about it. After that, my family helped her quit and she hasn't vaped since. But still, her friends are vaping. It's crazy how nicotine can enslave people so fast. I am part of a peer educator group at my school with my peers behind me. We teach about the harms of vaping. As middle school kids, we are on the front lines of this battle, but we can't do it alone. Together, as we can make a change.
Thank you, Kyler. Gosh, some of those devices have 8,000 puffs in them. That's why they're called community tanks. 8,000. Next, David Murillo Mondragon from Hastings. And Two Rivers. I'm sorry, just had to. Two Rivers. And you can correct all that goes on here too.
Hello, my name is David Murillo Mondragon. I am a sophomore from Two Rivers High School. I'm in 10th grade. I'm also a member of almost a Latino group at the school. I would like to tell you about one of my family members. At a young age, they believed the lie of big tobacco that vaping was safe. And since the flavors and everything made it so much smoother than cigarettes, it was easy to believe it. Now, they're addicted, and I see them vaping just about every time I'm with them. I'm super worried about their future because I know what the health dangers are. They still believe the lie. That's all.
Excellent. Yes, they do believe a lot. We're calling them out because we're taking down big tobacco with this. All right, next is Madeline Fisher.
Hello, my name is Madeline Fisher and I'm a senior at Owatonna High School. I am a member of the YOLO Project and our goal is to normalize talking about mental health and vaping's effect on our mental health. More and more people in my generation are beginning to vape whether it's peer pressure, using it as a coping mechanism, or because it tastes good. Flavors like slushy, Sour Patch Kids, gummy worms are putting toxic chemicals into our body and making it seem more appealing. When kids are struggling and don't know where to go, a quick fix like vaping can seem like the best option. Vaping does not only make our mental health worse, but it creates a gateway to hard drugs. The tobacco industry has failed our youth, and in our time of need, they preyed on us to make more money. I don't know about you, but I don't see my mom picking up a blue raspberry flavored vape. But my younger sister, all it takes but it tastes good, to create a lifelong addiction. This needs to change, and the change needs to happen now. We are supposed to be the voices of tomorrow, but the lack of care for our health has made us be the voices of today. Thank you.
All right, from my favorite town, Duluth, we've got Lily Riley from Lincoln Park Children and Family Collaborative.
I'm Lily Riley and I'm 19, and I come from Duluth, Minnesota, and vaping and flavored tobaccos have been a prevalent issue from my grandparents to my siblings of today. Throughout my life, flavored tobacco has been an issue, making an impact in its worst way. Big tobacco uses bright packaging and promising flavors to bring kids in, causing an addiction most kids and young teens are unaware of. This has caused issues in the school environment, from children pressuring their peers and their peers not being afraid to say no. A lot of kids today don't realize the harms of big tobacco because the way the school deals with it is very different. The school environment has been difficult for plenty of kids because they're constantly being pressured by their peers and, kids are afraid to get help, afraid to stop because of the peer pressure and fear of being ostracized by their peers. It's hard to stop when you constantly feel like your friends are gonna bully you because of what you need. The ending of big tobacco starts with the newer generation, and that generation starts with us. We need to end the sale, and we need to end it now before any other kids get hooked.
These things make everyone nervous, so it's fine, it's great. All right, Jennifer Cortez from the Indigenous Peoples Task Force.
First I would like to introduce myself in Ojibwe, which is my native language. So, Buju, Ganyo Koindishna Kaz, Gazak Swajim Kagan Nunva, Magazine Dodum. So what I just said was, hello, my spirit name is Golden Eagle Woman. My English name is Jennifer, and I'm enrolled in the Leech Lake tribe, and I'm part of the Eagle Clan. I wrote some stuff down. My mom is addicted to menthol cigarettes, and I remember the first time when my mom said that she would quit, and I was in middle school still, so it's been about 7 years since she said she was quitting. And I've had good memories with my mom, but they've been overruled by the anger that she has because it comes with smoking cigarettes. And putting a ban to flavors is more than putting a ban to the flavor. Sorry, let me reset. Putting a ban to flavors is more than putting a ban to the flavor. It's putting a ban to the addiction. And it's gonna stop us from seeing the things that we are seeing from the side, and the things that most people aren't paying attention to, like the yellow stained walls, or the lingering smell of cigarettes, or iced guava, the anger, or the bathrooms filled with students vaping, or even watching your friends and family choosing smoking over us. I think I speak for everyone on this. I think I speak for everyone on this, that putting a ban to flavors will help us bring back some of our relatives and friends.
I love that. Restricting access to flavors means restricting access to death and disease. I love it. Whew. All right, so take us home. Our last youth speaker is Daquan Epilek from Rochester. Daquan.
Hello, my name is Daquan. I'm a youth representative from Rochester. I have been working on the issue of vaping for over 2 years. Vaping, like smoking, is harmful to your health. Vapes are full of dangerous chemicals and high levels of nicotine that make them very addictive. Vapes come in hundreds of kid-friendly fruit, candy, and menthol flavors and packaging. I know all too well how these flavors work and lure kids who just try it. Sour Patch Kids, Peach Ring, or even Tropical Rainbow is just 3 of the 15,000 flavors. I was one of those kids. Flavor hooked kids. The addictions happen quickly, and kids who get hooked can become chemically addicted before they realize it. We hope decision makers will hear our voices. Don't wait another year. Another year means 10,000 more Minnesota kids will start vaping. 85% starting with these easy to use and highly appealing flavors. Waiting another year will keep Minnesota kids in harm's way. Our kids, siblings, friends, and family members will keep being a target unless something happens and we start the change.
I just want to say thank you to all of the youth speakers. That's
Yeah.
You know, it's democracy in action, and I hope you continue to be in action because that's what we all need, and the wonderful voices that, and wisdom that you've shared with us. But I would be remiss in my closing remarks not to thank Liz Johnson. Her passion for this event and this issue is really not measurable. She collected these youth stories, and if you haven't seen the exhibit upstairs in the North Hall, do yourself a favor and read some of the stories that you heard snippets from. But Liz would get those cards, she'd read them, and we'd talk, and the emotion, I mean, we can teach people skills, but we can't teach people to care. And Liz cares. And this was the dream that she would have, and I really want to say thank you, Liz Johnson, for your hard work and passion, and look at what happens. So, thank you, thank you. I'm gonna give you So together we can change the world, together we can make this happen. Thank you, youth. Thank you, youth. Onward. We can't wait. We're gonna take questions.
Real quick, could we get the spellings, either like on a paper of the youth speakers' names?
You
just
can
so
get
we
a
don't-
list of this, you think you can, yes, you
Awesome.
can, we'll get it to you.
Thank you.
That's range for yes, you can. No questions?
Representative Cha,
Yeah.
could you just talk a little bit about where this legislation's at, what still needs to happen? I understand it's, I think, laid over for an omnibus bill, is that correct?
That's correct. It does. The bill's in the House is being laid over to the omnibus bill and included. So possibly we'll be in conference and we'll continue to push forward, but we still need all the advocates and everybody to continue to write and push their legislators on both sides of the aisle for support, because like the children say, we can't wait another year because that's not 10,000 kids who will be vaping. So
On that note, you mentioned both sides of the aisle. What do conversations with members of your caucus and members of the other side of the aisle look like right now?
there is a lot of support, you know, but as we know, I think this bill has been around for before it became a legislator. I think it was introduced 5 years ago. And so I would say to you that this year we have had the most conversations, and we have had to challenge a lot of lawmakers on both sides of the aisle to say, look, you know what, I understand that you support the banning of flavored tobacco, but if you support it, then you have to follow through with that vote. And that's what we're working on, you know, in the House and in the Senate.
Is there a scenario out there where there might be compromise where some products would be banned but others wouldn't, like perhaps vapes, flavored vapes would be banned, but flavored cigarettes wouldn't?
There's always possible, exclusion and inclusions, as lawmakers, that's what we do. Is we have these difficult conversations and we have to make the difficult decisions to say, hey, what is it that Minnesotans want? And what is it that we should do to protect, whether it is adults or children or Minnesotans? And so as lawmaker, that is the task of our job, and that is what we're elected to do as legislators. And so, as the chief author of this bill, we're open to those conversations. And we need to have the conversation. If we're not gonna pass something, we need to continue to have that conversation and not put it in the back burner, because this is important. This is about the future of our kids. This is about communities. This is about Minnesota, right? And so.
And I just want to thank you for, and as I'm with the coalition and the Lung Association, just to say, and we don't want to leave menthol behind. We do not want, they were left behind before. We have to look at unintended consequences of saying, let's just do this piece. Whose life isn't worth this change? Whose kids aren't worth this change? So I don't want to compromise on health. Period.
I'm not sure who would be best to weigh in on this, but I mean, how much of a problem is smokeless tobacco, nicotine pouches, chewing tobacco? I mean, is that becoming a growing issue among youth as well?
Oh,
I
superintendent.
can certainly talk to that. I would say that it's just as important, if not even more important, because regardless, they're targeting our students who are not even the age to do any of these products, but that's who they're targeting. And I do see kids in the schools that they don't want to get caught with a vape, so they're going to do the nicotine pouches in their mouths. And then educating our staff, because that's a little bit newer for our staff as well, so they're not looking for the signs and symptoms of that. But then we have a bigger problem with that as well, because we know that these kids are being addicted to this nicotine. And so as an educator, I don't want to just come down on kids and just hammer them and give them consequences. I want to educate them and help them make better choices for their life extended past school. So it is a problem. So I would love to attack both.
Yes.
Can I jump in? Can I jump in with a question? As somebody that saw the display upstairs, the thing that surprised me the most was the consequences of tobacco, and I haven't heard much being said about the depression and anxiety that it causes, and just, why are we trying to get this away from our kids for those reasons?
It's a really good question, and I'm glad you took a look at two things there. When Minnesota does a really good job of collecting data around youth and the use of commercial tobacco products, and we noticed a few years ago that the reason they reported using them is they felt anxious and depressed, sad, lonely, and this was pre-pandemic. Then we must not forget we had a pandemic that also impacted youth greatly. And after that, we've seen even more of that signs of depression and anxiety. But what have people told us for decades? Oh, I can't quit smoking, it makes me relax, it helps me relax. So that myth is still out there. The truth is, whenever you're in withdrawal from a drug, when you get the drug, you relax. So lots of great studies show that when people that are addicted to nicotine stop the nicotine, get through the withdrawal, get through a point where they're not thinking about it every second and really working hard at it, they actually are less depressed, less anxious. So we have to, I said this up at Superintendent Elke's school last week, we've got to teach life skills, and one of those is stress management. And like I said, you don't just tell a toddler to tie your shoes, just tie your shoes, just relax. We've got to do a better job at also teaching relaxation and stress management.
Thank you. I want to comment on that, because to the first testifier that stood up here, that talked about the community vaping and how he didn't recognize his sister.
Yes.
Yes. I didn't recognize my daughter. That's not who my daughter is. She's going through depression, she feels alone, she's been suicidal. These things are real. The testimony, the study, we're talking real life experience from somebody who had a sister who's vaping and a father who has witnessed the consequences of vaping.
Yeah,
Can you talk about how vaping, how the drug epidemic is started into vaping?
Absolutely. We've known for a long time that nicotine is a stimulant, and it works on the same part of the brain. And by the way, sorry to tell you guys, brains aren't fully developed till you're 25. So as a parent, I always said, oh, I'm gonna help you out because mine's fully developed. But those pathways are triggered by nicotine, that dopamine release, that the same as cocaine and fentanyl and other drugs, and nicotine enhances drug use. So when we were doing clean air work, people would say, oh, you can't ban smoking in bars. That's the places we drink and smoke, because nicotine and alcohol go together. And we also know that nicotine enhances THC delivery. Kind of opens the pathway, and together it's a bigger hit. So yes, and I want to mention opioids because we worked with the Department of Human Services to do a study on offering nicotine dependency treatment to people that are in Minnesota in opioid treatment. 80% of opioid users in treatment in Minnesota are people that smoke. Compared to the general population, the overall number of 13%. There's a connection. There's a connection.
We have time for one more question.
Yep.
If there is one.
Thanks for your time.
I'm just gonna make one final comment, and, because these remarks came up in Commerce when this bill is being heard. And I want to address the issue of that. If we ban flavored tobaccos, that we're gonna put business in Minnesota out of business, and that is not necessarily true. If you look at Massachusetts and California, in Massachusetts, if you look at the data, you've seen that the licensing for tobacco institution has actually increased since the ban. So I want to address that. We're not going to sacrifice millions of dollars versus the future of Minnesotans, our kids, and not when it's costing the state $9.5 billion of cost to the state of Minnesota versus just $90 million of retail sales. Thank you.